Welcome to Markets Now. I'm Michelle Rourke with Scott Varilek with Kooima Kooima Varilek. Well, the grains are trying to bounce here this morning with the livestock futures trading mostly lower. Scott, let's start off with cattle like we normally do. A down day yesterday in the cattle, but today, are we caught up in more bird flu news? Is that part of the problem?
Yeah, thanks for having me. And we have to talk about the elephant in the room. So, yet again, we're going to talk about bird flu. We had a pretty good start yesterday, and it just kind of fizzled down. And then it was probably more after the close, this story starts to gain more traction. And what we're looking at is the news that's got everybody scared. I'm going to try to unpack this with hold my composure together because we're all a little frustrated with it, I guess. But you've got a gentleman in Mexico. He's 59 years old. He's got type 2 diabetes and severe kidney failure. Never been around poultry, never been around cows, and he passes away. And the tests come back positive for bird flu, the World Health Organization says. So raises a lot of questions, makes everybody a little scared, saying that it's mutated, that it's a different version than what we have in the United States. So there's just a lot of questions that we have to figure out. It's uncertainty thrown back at the market again. So why are we testing this guy in the first place? I don't know. So to me, it just says, okay, they're not ready to let this story go away. It sounded like the USDA did not want to talk about this anymore. We're ready to kind of move on. We've figured out that the meat's safe, the milk's safe. Let's go on. But it's kind of that never dying story that we have to keep dealing with. And then what happens when the stories come out after the markets, it's a scare tactic. We have a new tool in LRP. Yep, I sell it myself too. But it's something that once you find a story that's scary, you push it as hard as you can to try to get LRP policies sold. You have a whole nother group of, salesmen that have a new tool that can use that don't, trade markets normally. So they're using this to try to get you to get some LRP to me, and you get a bunch of policies written. As everybody's scared and emotional, that can run really high. So that's where you get your initial flush, and now we're starting to hold, and hopefully we can look beyond this and get some days behind this yet again. But I think the general public is getting pretty sick of it. I guess when you put your meter out there and try to see how they're feeling, I don't know if everybody's ready to start masking up and getting vaccinated again. So feeling like this is going to be quite different this time.
Yeah, it looks like there's been a lot of hype on this thing. We had our first case of H5N1 in an Iowa dairy herd as well. So I didn't think that helped that news. But where do we find support now on the charts? What are you looking at?
Well, we have a market it's at or near record levels. We got record high cash cattle, the fed cattle and the feeders. So we have a market that's we all know it's high and it's good. So maybe some of these reasons to correct the market are easy to do because there's going to be a crew waiting to be there for the big one whenever this is over. We've got these very large limits now, and making some of these longs that much more nervous when you're at high levels. That when this thing corrects, it's going to be fast. So I think there's that little aspect to it that has people scared to buy it. But I'm looking around the 175 number on the August live cattle, thinking that there's some pretty good support, give or take, on both sides of 175, and I think that's okay there. Feeder side, at that index at 250 and the August at 252, I think there's plenty of room for those August to get above that index. Those are generally not even near that close. And August can be the strongest leader of the month of them all. And when we have feeders right now at some of these record high levels, I'm not scared of that being, a little bit premium to the index. That's not bothering me at all.
Yeah. What about cash? We were a little bit lower off the record highs that you mentioned last week, although we did have some really strong trade towards the end of the week, I know, up in the north. But what have you heard? Cash news has been pretty light this week so far. Where do you think we're going to break?
Excuse me, but it's been a little light. But I do know that it feels like there's some packers that are very short bought. There's about 3 of them that I guess are on target that I've heard need some cattle. There's some asking prices that are still steady. Still some of those 192 asking prices in the north. But it's been the South that's been kind of the drag here. Um, is we had the 1 to 2 lower trade last week, the 186 in the South. Now you get this sharp break on the futures here this morning after yesterday. Packers want some cattle, so they're out there with some bids at 184 already, trying to get them bought a couple dollars lower. We'll see if the South has enough backbone to try to hold on and get that a little higher or not. Yet to be seen. But those bids had just kind of came out here this morning after the open because of the break. And I would see, I thought just a day ago, I was thinking fully steady. We might even possibly be higher. That's probably going to be a little bit tougher to do now. I think we could get a little bit of a drag, but Norter's going to keep its big premium moving forward there. And then we'll see. We get some weight data today. That might decide a little bit of direction as well here.
Yeah. And as far as the boxes, they have started to slide just a little bit, at least on yesterday's close, right?
Yeah, I guess I'm not super alarmed about the demand here yet.
Okay.
I think we're good enough levels. The overall economy is what we kind of have to watch. It feels shaky, a little bit of back and forth, up and down, but I still think we have a consumer that wants high quality beef, and they're still going out to eat pretty good. So I really think, I think the demand is on solid ground. I'm not seeing anything that's just really pulling that back yet.
All right, Hogs, more new lows for the move yesterday. We tried to start off higher, but as has been the trend, it gets sold pretty easily here by the funds. What do you think? Is the low, are we getting close to a low, or do we have to go back and test the contract lows, do you think?
Yeah, it's the trend is your friend for sure kind of market. I think you've said that right there. It is in kind of that free fall downward spiral here, and just itching away. It just feels like an everyday grind lower. And if you would have tried to put some fundamentals to it or talk to some commercials, or you were trying to buy this market $10 ago and it's still grinding lower. And I think it's reached a point to where it's forcing a lot of these longs out of the market. So I know that there's some pretty good traders that are stuck in this market on the long side and thinking it's got to hold sometime, right? It's got to hold sometime. Well, as we start to take out some of these lows and you've got some funds that are actually, selling this market pretty hard, saying, okay, you're going to find some funds selling at this price we hear at 81 on the October Hogs. And we're thinking, boy, they're going to sell it now. Well, that's $3 ago already. So, I mean, it's getting some more pressure on the downside. And when you look at the index, we're still sitting here at 91 to 92, just kind of in that range. Now the market's got down to it. June is starting to hold, because that's where we got kind of our cash at, and it's been there for a couple of months now. So it's not, we've not seen a big, fluctuation in that. So that's going to be your hope that starts to hold and can start to pull front months up. Maybe we can get a little bull spread action to kind of stop it.
Gotcha. What about the grains? Been down 7 days in corn and soybeans in a row here, and it looks like the funds have been back on the sell side. But is this bounce this morning just basically a short covering bounce because we're oversold? I mean, or, in the case of corn, we did have pretty good exports this morning.
Yeah, I think we're looking at more just a technical bounce here, in my opinion. So these markets have been, like you said, down that many days in a row, and getting in that oversold, kind of an area. I don't see a story that's saying these markets need to make a big turn. I think this is just some overall correction that was needed in the market, some of these oversold conditions. I think I'm going to still be looking for a rally to sell. Respecting this rally, thinking that there's a little bit more to it for a correction. I might not want to wait too long, but hoping for, say another 20 cents on the bean, start to measure some of these retracements and looking for a spot there. We've lived on the wheat market rally. That's really, helped the corn at times. And now that that's kind of stabilized, I'm not expecting corn just to do it all by itself here and head north. So we've got, rain watch starting here. We get to the middle of June. That's going to pick up the pace. We've got adequate moisture, across the Midwest right now. And crop conditions, we saw what that can do to it. So we'll see moving forward if we get to, any lack of rain. But as of now, that's not in the plan.
Nope, it's kind of a rain makes grain mentality here, I guess, in the grain market. All right, Scott, thanks so much. Scott Varilek with Kooima Kooima Varilek, and that is Markets Now.